New dryer. New fittings, 190 degree and one straight. And it should screw right onto that dryer. And then this end should fit onto the hose. Oh, look at that. I'm going to put the straight fitting on first. And we kind of see that that's going to be about bottomed out in the hose. So we want to push the hose so it goes all the way down. Just like that. Now what I have here is called a hydro crimp. It's made for doing hydraulic hoses and AC hoses. It's made by a company called Mastercool. And it's actually a hydraulic pump in here and a cylinder, and it takes this and pushes this die up until it bottoms out. All these different inserts for different size tubing. We know that this is a number 6, so according to the chart, a number 6 standard barrier hose takes the purple. What you can see on there is a number 6. So we got to load the crimping die into the tool. Put the pin in. You want to unscrew it, open it up, stick our fitting in there, screw it together. Make sure this is closed, and then we pump the hydraulic pump, and then it'll crimp our fittings. And what you'll see this fork here coming up. And we got to go until it bottoms out. And there we are. Then we just release it. We unscrew. And there you are, a crimped AC hose. Now we'll have to install this onto the condenser, and then come up and we'll measure where to cut the hose. I don't have this cut with length, and then we'll put this end on there and crimp this on the RV itself. Now we're back outside of the RV. First thing we're going to need to do is change out this dryer. And it also has a pressure switch. It's a high pressure switch in here. We need to take this switch out because we're going to move it to the new dryer. And then we can start hooking up the new lines. What I'm going to do is we're going to take the old dryer and drain and see how much oil is actually in there still. We're getting some out of it. I'm just going to let that drain for a little bit. We need to go ahead and put whatever oil that we take out of there, put oil back into the new dryer. And we're using PAG 100. And the reason why we're using PAG 100 is because the compressor says it uses PAG 100. AC oil is always dictated by the compressor manufacturer. Well, you can see about how much oil that we got out of this thing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a syringe, and we're going to suck it up, measure it, and then put the same amount back into the new dryer. Okay, and we have a full syringe, and we're 2 ounce syringe, and we're full. So I pulled 2 ounces out of the old dryer.
Go ahead and start it before you get in there. There you go.
Okay, so now we have a little over 2 ounces. I'm trying to guesstimate about maybe a quarter or half ounce that maybe we lost when the line exploded. Okay, and I'm going to pour it inside the port where the pressure switch goes. Here's the pressure switch. I've got a brand new O-ring. We'll put that on there. Put a little bit of oil on it. And then install it into the port that we just put the oil in. You want to try to keep your caps and everything on the dryers or receiver or any part of an air conditioner system until you connect it. You don't want the humid air going inside there. This thing's filled with a decant pack, sort of like the thing you get inside your electronics that says do not eat. I guess somebody must have ate that at one time. They have to print that on there. So once this absorbs moisture to its full capacity, it can't be undone. So you want to keep it closed up so it doesn't absorb moisture outside here prematurely. There is an in and an out on this, so you got to keep the orientation correct. First thing that we're going to do is put the straight end of the line back in here. Okay, so now we've got the hose, and I can see where the length is. We're going to have another fitting that's got to be crimped onto here that goes into here. This is the input side, and this hose here, which is coming out of the out, goes over to the expansion valve. And you always put a couple drops of oil on it. It's got a rubber plug in there you got to pull out, and then immediately put your line in. Now we know that this fitting is going to go right there. So if we take this line, I can mark it right where I want to cut it. Kind of need like 3 hands for this. You want to make sure your end is square. We'll put our new fitting on. It goes all the way down until it bottoms out, and they actually give you a little hole so you can see where the rubber is. Alright, next thing to do is to index this so it lines up. So we're going to bring this right on around, put our pin in, and we screw this in. And then we start crimping. And again, you go all the way until the jaws bottom out and release the pressure. Pull our pin. There we are. Another crimped end. Same procedure as before. We're going to go ahead and add some oil on the O-ring. Pull our plug. And immediately insert our hose. Now the reason why we didn't make the new hose off the old hose, because I don't know if you remember it, but the old hose went this way. Back there it did like a loop. This is just a straight shot right where it needs to go. There we are. Now we'll go ahead and get the gauges hooked up and get this thing on a vacuum. Alright, now that we got the vacuum pump on, I'm going to open up our knobs. And you can see it pulling it down into a vacuum. See, it's no longer on 0, but in the vacuum. Now we just let the vacuum pump run for about an hour, hour and 15 minutes to get all the moisture and the air out of there. So we got our high pressure fitting, which is actually built into the receiver. And we've got our low pressure up in there. It comes off the suction line that's going back to the compressor right off the expansion block. One more thing to keep in mind when you're doing AC work, buy the pack of assortment O-rings. Trust me, you're gonna need it. The new dryer came with 2 O-rings taped to it for the 2 lines, but didn't come with one for the pressure switch. Luckily I had the O-ring I needed for the pressure switch. It's been about an hour and a half on the vacuum pump. So we're gonna go ahead and shut the vacuum pump off and hook it up to a tank of R134 and get it charged. First thing we do is close off both our ports. Then we can turn off the pump. Okay, we're all hooked up. Got the tank open, got our scale turned on. I just have to 0 it. So now we're at 0. Then I'm going to open up both ports. And you'll see that the needles jump up. Now what we're doing is the whole system was under a vacuum, and now the refrigerant is going into this place where the vacuum used to be. We have 7 ounces that got sucked in just from it being under a vacuum. So now we need to close off the high pressure port and start the engine and let it suck the rest of the refrigerant in. Come over here so you can hear me. On my phone, I have a temperature pressure chart for 134 refrigerant. It's 85 degrees outside. We're going to charge it to the pressures that it says in the chart. Now the inside and outside are going to be different because the inside is going to start to cool down. Instead of 85 degrees, maybe 80 degrees or 75 degrees. We're almost at 2.5 pounds. Okay, according to the chart, at 85 degrees, our high pressure should be at 225 to 250. I just went ahead and shut the gauges down. We're at 5 pounds, 10 ounces. We're running right around 250, and it's in the mid to high 80s. So we'll let that go ahead and circulate for a little bit, and then we'll see what the temperatures on the inside are. What I did is I stuck the outside probe down the vent. And you can see we got 79 degrees temperature being sucked into the fan, and 44 degrees is our temperature blowing out. I got 50 over here. So the temperature is somewhere between 45 and 50 degrees blowing out of our vents. I'm gonna leave it right there. We've got decent temperatures inside, so now I'll get everything disconnected. Well, we're all done with the AC video. Appreciate you watching. I hope you learned something. And if I miss anything, just go ahead and leave me a comment below and I'll check it out. Also, if you didn't see the video yet where the AC explodes, I'll also have that link down in the description also. Thank you.